big guy coming back tonight, Jake Walman, making his regular season debut for the Oilers this season. What kind of impact do you think he'll have? And also, too, like, what do you think he can do for Darnell Nurse, another player who's kind of struggled the last few games?
Well, you hope he steps in and adds a boost, right? I know that's what Chris Knobloch said this morning in his presser, but I look at Jake Walman and the way he came in on board last year at the end of the year, down the stretch drive into the playoffs, the drive to the Stanley Cup final again. He really was able to find his way in the lineup, and there were certain games where he was excellent. He was outstanding. Could argue he was the best defenseman on the ice. So got the long-term extension by the Oilers for a reason. They're expecting him to come in and do what he does, play heavy minutes. He's peaking right at the right time, I think, in his age, in his maturity as a player. Unfortunately, got banged up a little bit in training camp, wasn't able to start the season. But he's excited to get in there, and he should be, because the team, quite frankly, needs him. They need more from the back end. They need more from everybody. I'm not putting it on the back end, but you're trying to find those pairs. You're trying to find the combinations that you can put out there and you feel comfortable. And quite frankly, they feel good playing together. He's going to play the right side tonight. We've seen him do that before. With Darnell Nurse, you've got two veteran guys there that know how to play the game. So settle things down, play a mature game. The thing for Walman, for me, is his skating. He's an excellent skater. He's 220 pounds. He's not a little individual, but he's an excellent skater. So a big guy that can skate, that can transport the puck up, number one, but can move the puck as well. He's that first pass guy. He's going to be looking up the ice to get the puck into the forward's hands, and that's something that Edmonton's really had a hard time with in the last few games. They've dealt with a lot of pressure. They've dealt with teams that have closed on them quickly, and they haven't dealt with it very well. And I think that's a combination of a few things. Two, the most important, I think, moving the feet to get yourself into an open lane, and secondly, the connection between the defenseman and the forwards just hasn't been there. There hasn't been a lot of connection all over the ice between everybody. It needs to be tighter, it needs to be smoother, and it needs to be more commitment from everybody involved to make sure you're in a position to receive a pass. And then you can look at the defenseman. If they don't want to give you that puck, then you can say, hey, you need to move that puck up the ice. But we showed a clip the other night where Detroit was doing a great job in their formation, coming in and taking away options in the neutral zone. And, I think that there's a patience, if you want to call it that, with Edmonton right now, where they're looking to make that perfect play, and it's just not there sometimes. And I think if you hold on to it too long right now at the start of the year, where you're not quite as dialed in as you should be, things aren't crisp tape to tape, there's still a little bit of feeling out with some of the juggling of the lines and combinations, they're getting picked off. I know I heard you guys earlier talk about how many passes and attempted passes are getting knocked down with sticks. They're hitting the skate. They're just a little bit off with their sink. So what do? You simplify. You simplify things. Forwards have to do a better job of punching into the lanes, showing themselves, giving that stick to put a pass onto. And for defensemen, if that option's there, take it. Because if you don't take it right away, it's going away pretty quickly.
How are the players' spirits? They're on a 3-game slide, kind of we thought it was a hot start to the season, is turning now into a slow start to the season. How are they? How are they feeling? How are they talking? What's their energy levels like?
As you would expect, what there's dog days all throughout the NHL season. It's a journey. It's a marathon. There's some at the start. There's some midway. There's some at different times. And there's certainly quite a bit at the end when you're just trying to wrap up a season, respectively, whether you're outside looking in or you're inside looking out and you're trying to find your seeding, or your seeding and you're just trying to stay healthy getting into the playoffs. It's one of those right now. I see a team that understands and knows they have to be better. I think the Stars have said it best. Connor McDavid after the New Jersey game and Leon Draisaitl after the Detroit game. It starts with them. They know it. They haven't been themselves. They haven't been as dominant and as dangerous as we're used to seeing them when they play together. They know it more than anybody. It's just a feel. And quite frankly, I think it's kind of, I'll give you an example of me, how I look at it anyway. I haven't been in the gym for a while. I was hunting, trekking after elk, chasing elk in the mountains, so I was kind of keeping active, but I haven't.
That's like a Rocky IV type workout, Louie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, he goes into Russian, goes into the hills, right? That's kind of what it was. But here's the thing. When you need to get back into the gym, it's about getting yourself in there for that first time. It's about making the mental commitment to say, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to work out. And once you start, you can start to build on that start. I don't know if Edmonton's really dug in yet and started the season. I don't mean that disrespectfully. We've seen this for 2 years in a row coming into this year, the hangover effect. This is a team that knows it's 82 games long. They understand they're a good team, but it's like they're looking at the hill to climb the mountain, and it's like, I got to start this. And the start is always the worst. Until you prime the body and get yourself kind of motivated and get going, it becomes your normal day-to-day. It hasn't become the normal day-to-day yet with the Oilers. But what we did see in the third period against Detroit, for me, was the best period since the first 2 games. And I think that's kind of where it's going. I think they're getting to that stage now where they're like, okay, enough's enough here. We got to start being more committed. We have to start moving our feet. And for me, that's where it starts. They need to start winning more puck battles. They need to start moving the feet a little quicker. If your feet are moving, you're jumping into lanes, you're supporting better, and you're more connected. And that's the one word that they've thrown around quite a bit in the last little while is they're just not connected. But they don't feel good about it. They understand it's the start of the season. They're not panicking. I know a lot of people are, but they're not. They're not panicking. They've been here before. I see a fairly relaxed group. Watched them in the skate today. There was a good jump this morning. I expect them to come out and try and build on what they did in the third period. Didn't work out. They weren't able to come back and tie that game and win it. But you know what? I like the fact that they started to put shift after shift in succession and at least get a little connected in that regard, because we've seen so much where one line goes out there, has a pretty good shift, and then it's just not followed up. That it just dies again. Where in Detroit, you started to see them really run and gun. I mean, there was 14 minutes and no whistles in the third period, and it was a little bit run and gun. But they could have easily tied it up. A little blunder, a little bobble by Draisaitl on the breakaway, which, I mean, you can count on one hand, in my opinion, in his whole career in a dangerous position like that all alone where he's bobbling the puck. But that's what's going on right now with Edmonton. Those are the bounces they're not getting. That's the thing that's happening. If it's going to be negative right now, this is a team that's had a lot of success. And they're going to have to fight, just like every other team, to regain that identity as being one of the best teams in the league, because every team that's coming to play them, every building they go into, trust me, they're more ready than ever to play them.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Everyday, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered, from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.